Hey, thank you guys so much for joining the Hnilo show. I'm so happy to introduce my guest, Rick Ankiel, and such a good example of resilience and just coming back. He has an awesome comeback story that we're gonna go through. But Rick, I want to tell you just real quick. I talked to Baker about you. John Baker is a really good friend of mine who was the first guest that I had on a podcast. The audience would know, and he had Tag Bozade over at his place one time and kind of told me some fun little stories about you guys. Do you remember Tag?
Yeah, really well. Me and Tag are really good friends, and we played together in AAA.
Yeah, no, yeah, he had good things to say about you, and that's awesome. And I mean, the whole point of this podcast is to bring just inspire others. Like you said, I saw heard an interview yesterday, and you're actually, we're going to touch on that later about the book that you're doing, and how it's just like you didn't really want to kind of rehash all that, but you said that if it can help somebody else out there, then boom, it's a total win. And that's what I'm all about. I mean, in my accident, right, I was rocked, unrecognizable. It was a really dark year. I mean, I went to whole new grocery stores. My jaw was out to here, two titanium plates inserted. My chin was, the bone was exposed to the bottom of my mouth. It was horrible. I mean, to go through, from making my living, whatever, acting, modeling and stuff,
Right.
and then having that taken away, it was scary. I mean, not only did it start, it sucked to start your day off looking in the mirror and then being bummed out at the swelling and the scarring and things like that. But what you do is you find a way. You find a way to beat it. I fed my system internally with a nice Ayurvedic and anti-inflammatory blend because my jaw was wired shut, so I couldn't eat. So I fed it from the inside, and then I did my research on spa treatments and started adding my own twist with things like colostrum and American ginseng, organic kelp powder, vitamin C, freshwater pearl powder that the geisha has been using for centuries to even out sunspots. So I just kind of created my own mask. Long story short, I did a podcast just like this with someone who I respect, just like yourself, and he got such a response on his podcast from his audience. His name's Dave Asprey. I don't know if you've heard of that bulletproof coffee with like the butter and all that.
I haven't. I
No,
haven't.
well, it's starting to kind of take off, and so he took. Long story short, he helped fund my company. We're in 45 countries now, and it's just like how it is. Just you find a way to. I mean, people laughed when I started. I'm an ex-athlete myself, and like to tell my buddies that I'm into skincare, but I did it out of necessity, man. Like I had scarring everywhere, but also that clay helps pull out that heavy metals and those impurities and things like that. So it was a win-win, and it was so effective. The same people who saw me in the ICU in the hospital were like, "What?" Taking double takes. Like, "What are you doing?" My jaw was still wired shut, but my scarring was significantly reduced, and my abrasions were gone within 10 days. So I knew something was there. I stayed extremely diligent with that routine, with feeding it from the inside, and then also taking care of it from the outside. So, but when I fast forward a couple years later, they're like, "With all due respect, dude, what do you know about skincare? Do you have a chemistry background?" I'm like, "No, I just have an attention to detail with ingredients, and I have a passion that was formed through, like they say, necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, I created it for myself
Right.
without an intention to start a business. But just like you, I mean, well, not just like you, but like when pitching, when you went from pitching I mean, what was that first conversation like? Telling people, "Hey, look, I'm going to come back as a hitter." I mean, I got laughed at when people were like, "Dude, yeah, with all due respect, what do you? Come on, skincare. Who's gonna? Andy, come on." Like I got that
Right.
from my closest friends. And
Right.
was it similar to you when people were like, I mean, really hitter, or did people believe?
No, it's funny because even people who were in baseball for the last 30 years or whatever, back then, they didn't really give people the opportunity to do that. And there was guys, as I said, who'd been in the game forever who would give you that look, that kind of pat on the back, like, yeah, right, good luck with that, kid. Good luck trying to get that done. But I think the biggest thing is people who know me the most, and people within the Cardinals organization. It's such a blessing that they let me do it. But I knew that there was at least a handful of people who did believe that I could do it.
And what I love about your story is you're like, "Hey, take me back." I think you went to Florida. I mean, you went through the steps, rookie ball. I mean, here you are, uh, all star. I don't know, weren't you? Didn't you finish in the Cy Young Award? Did you win Rookie of the Year or
I was second rookie of the year.
second Rookie of the Year? I mean, one. I mean, very successful pitcher, highly touted prospect, and then to kind of go back to rookie ball with all these guys straight out of high school. I mean, granted, well, the age range was what? Like you were what, 4 or 5 years older than 6?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I was a little bit older. I mean, it was different. It was strange, but I think the biggest thing for me was that I had given the last 5 years dealing with the control stuff and going with that and everything that it took to get it right. And you add in the injuries and everything where I was going. I just realized I don't want the next 8 years, 10 years, whatever that pitching career would have been to live like this, because I felt like my personality was changing. My relationships with my closest friends and family were changing because I just had to do all these mental exercises all day long to prepare to get ready. So when actually I switched over to the outfield, it was almost like a weight being taken off my shoulders. And I was like, you know what? This is fun again. Baseball is fun again. And I was excited to show up and go to the field instead of like, oh crap, here we go, another day. Hopefully this is the day I remember how to be me again.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. So can you walk us through a couple of those mental, the visualization? I don't know if you went through that. I worked with a guy named Ken Revisa, or well, not directly, but I read his book. We would go through the whole layout in the outfield, visualize every at bat before we go to start the game and feel the crack of. I mean, was that something you did? What are some of those mental things that you did?
The mental stuff was the pitching stuff, and just what it took. For me, it was all day. I had little exercises I would do, and there'd be millions of them, but I could never be off, and I couldn't take a break from that and just be me and be funny and outgoing and just happy-go-lucky, which is who I was before I got the yips or the monster or whatever you want to call it. And it was just really changing who I was, and I can't say that it was fun because it wasn't. It was like it was basically I was showing up to make a paycheck, but it was more than that because of the grind that it took to throw strikes. So, everything added into that, is why I made the switch. But once I made the switch, really more than mental, it was physical as far as the grind, just extra fly balls, extra ground balls, learning how to play the outfield again, knowing where to be. Hitting. Now I got to learn how to hit everything, other than the fastball. Because as a pitcher, they're just, here's a fastball, hit it, kid, right?
Yeah.
And then once you start teaching them you can hit, they start mixing other stuff. But now that you become a hitter, now you got to see their entire repertoire. So it was just, go to the field early, leave late, all that. As much as I could possibly get in because I felt like I was playing catch up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I have your bat here, and one of the things to the audience out there that sparked this and really just gained a lot. I had respect for you before this, but I mean, when I was in such a down time, and I'm telling you that I'm still recovering. I can't feel all this. I severed a nerve right here that it gives you all connection from your brain to so this side of my face, it's slowly coming back, but
right.
I didn't like when I would smile. Only this side would smile. It was really embarrassing, man.
Only happy was happy.
Exactly, but the thing is though is it sucked because it would diffuse a moment where you're supposed to be happy, and you're worried, you're insecure about how you look. I mean, my teeth were nubs. I mean, there was concrete, pavement in my teeth. Like it was really. That's why I'm so I got my zest back, dude, and it feels.
I can see it. It's awesome.
Oh man, thank you. Yeah,
I can't believe all that happened from a parked car too. It's just.
Yeah, man, I just lost control. True story is, dude, I tripped over the sidewalk, parked car. Like, next thing you know, ICU, man. Damn, I didn't want that to get out. But yeah, I mean, so I got this bat to the audience out there, Rick. I was in Florida, just visiting a friend out there, and my boy John Baker was playing for the Marlins at the time, and you were playing for the Nationals, and.
Yep.
I had a little too much fun in South Beach, and I didn't get a chance to meet you, but I really wanted to. But I was.
South Beach gets the best of a lot of people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I thanked you after that. I knew there was something there, because I like to have fun, man, and I thanked you for it, and I was like, man, 34 and a half, 33 and a half, man, that's huge. And you're all, well, it just depends who's holding it. I'm like, all right, dude, because I was 34, 31, and I'm like, damn, dude, 33 and a half. I'm like, but yeah, that was cool, man. And just from that point on, you never know who you're going to inspire, and it's just little things like that just really got the positive momentum rolling forward in my own recovery, and that's I'm all about, just like you said. Oh, there's someone out there that's I know, because I get emails. I don't know if you get contact. I mean, the yips are real. Accidents are real.
Things happen. I
Things
mean, it's life. Things happen.
absolutely, and so that's the main purpose of every guest that I have on the phone or on this podcast is I want them to share their story of resilience. I just love grinders. I love people that work hard and aren't really worried about the opinion of others, but they put their head down and they just they keep that discipline, that focus, and and when it works out and you come out on top, man, there's nothing like it. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of go over your career leading up to that. I mean, I'm sure. How did you were a first round pick by the Cardinals, right?
I was actually a supplemental pick in the
Supplemental,
second round. It was kind of based on signability, but
right?
I should have been a first round pick.
No, I get supplemental.
Scott Boras, money is money deal. You know how that goes in
Oh
baseball.
yeah.
Yeah.
To the people out there, Scott Boras is very well known. He's probably the most well known agent in baseball, and sometimes people back away, but just that's what it comes down to. He gets the job done, man. That guy's
Yes, he does.
very good at what he does. But you're from where are you from in Florida? Is it Port St. Lucie?
I grew up in Fort Pierce, Florida.
Fort
Port St. Lucie. It's Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, right next towns next to each other. I ended up going to high school in Port St. Lucie.
Okay. And
Yep.
did you play any other sports, or were you just baseball?
I didn't. Here in Florida, a lot like you guys in California with the weather, I could play baseball year round. So I never even. I was just something I was always good at, and I never got into playing anything else. I did around the neighborhood, but never nothing in the league.
Okay. And I heard you were one of those situations where you kind of grew into your body a little bit towards the end of your high school career. So you were like 6 feet, throwing what, low to mid 80s.
Yeah,
And
I was a little guy. My top, I was always one of the smaller kids, and I graduated 17, so I didn't grow until my sophomore year. So I went from throwing 84 to 94 just like that, and
wow.
Obviously as a young kid, I think it became this pipe dream that you want to go on to college or professional into this is a real thing now because obviously with the velocity and I'm left-handed, as soon as that velocity jump came, it became a reality.
Yeah. So were you a legit hitter in high school, or was that just one of those things where?
No, I was a good hitter. It just when I started throwing harder, it became really clear that my fastest route to the big leagues would be as a pitcher.
Okay, right on. Yeah. So if you with those first couple of years, because you grinded with Johnson City, from Florida Gulf Coast League to single A. I mean, you did the whole thing back.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love is humility, man. I mean, we're all right here. I mean, I can't in the game, not only in the game, but in my industry or whatever. You come. It happened yesterday. Successful person. I was at the dentist or whatever, and it's just all the conversation is completely one-sided, and I'm like I immediately shut off. I'm like I can't relate to that. So humility has always been big with me. I love how people treat people and to hear Bake and the way people speak about you and just the interviews you do. I really admire that. I mean, a person that is that successful, but yet all is just right here, that grounded mentality. That's really, I mean, that's what it's the coolest thing to me. And so I just, taking that humility and were you that way your whole life, or did that, was that a thing after the kind of things didn't happen so well on the mound, and then you worked your way back up? What did you need that, or were you kind of grounded your whole life?
No, I've always been grounded. I mean, I was cocky in the fact that I knew I was a good player, but I just, I always believed in treating people the same way. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are, or what, or what you are. I don't like when I see people treating people, in different ways because of where they come from or what they think. Don't judge a book by its cover, because you never know who the next person is, and you never know what they're going through.
Yeah, you never know. You could be that way the next day. Yasiel Puig made a comment when he got sent down. He's a good dude, by the way. I went by the Arizona, a few clubhouses of my buddies who are still playing, and kind of passed out the mask and moisturizer. A lot of them are like, "Oh man, I'm good, dude." Like, yeah, I'm gonna be good. I mean, but that's the good thing about my company is they just needed one dude to come forward and go, "Look, man, it's okay to want to look good, man. You look good, you feel good, you're gonna exude better energy to the people." I mean, I just, but anyway, it was kind of cool. I gave him a jar, and he took a little selfie in the clubhouse with the mask on, and yeah, man, it was funny. It's important to me to just kind of explain the cleanliness of ingredients and just the differentiators. I mean, I started off with Coppertone, Neutrogena, Clean and Clear, Clearasil, toxic products, and I created something that is just food grade. You know, your skin being your largest organ. You're out there in the sun, it's baking it in. All those chemicals, it's counterproductive, accelerating the aging process as well as introducing all those chemicals into your bloodstream. So just ingredient by ingredient, we're starting to form a line. It's taken off. But anyway, so we go there every spring because it's kind of fun for me because I miss baseball a little bit, but I just like hitting, running, and throwing, man. So
hitter, all-time quarterback.
Yeah, that's right. I like to think that we have similar game types. I've been known to power, arm strength, and punch out a little bit, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well played.
No, I'm just kidding, dude. No,
I'm
just messing around, man. But you did bring up a good point before that. When you go through that, and you're known as a good teammate, like good dude, but when you're going through something like when I'm going through my 0 for 10 to close out my college career with 8 punch outs, coach doesn't like, he's pinch hitting me in the 9th inning, and it's the worst way to end it. It bothered me that they were seeing a dark side of me. I don't know if that happened to you, but you did mention it earlier that you were I forget the way you phrased it, but just kind of losing that edge, that they're seeing a different side of you, which can be ugly.
You're exactly right, and I played with guys, and you watch them go through it. You know what they always say: you find out who you are, and you find out who other people are also when they're going through things like that. But it is so hard to be your best and want to give to everybody else when you are going through situations like that. There's no question about it. I mean, you're 0 for 10 or 0 for 20, and somebody next to you is pouting about going 0 for 1, and it's like, try going 0 for 20 over here. So understandable.
Yeah. So you played with the Braves, the Mets, the Nationals, Cardinals, and
Astros,
and Royals.
And Royals, yep.
And so did you have? I mean, the question here, people want to know what's your favorite city and most least favorite city and why to visit, to play in.
Yeah. Favorite city to play in and have people come watch me play is Chicago in the summertime. There's nothing better. Always, the people are great. To me, it's like a miniature New York, but it's cleaner. Right. It's Midwest, so you have the nice Midwest charm to it. And for a player, for me, and as you know, because Bake was there, there's a lot of day games. So most of the time, if I have family or friends in town, we get to go out to a normal dinner at a normal time, and it's almost like living a normal life, so to speak.
Right. And least favorite city?
I don't know if I have a least favorite city.
Yeah, because you're in the show. You're living the dream.
It's hard to do that.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, that's exactly who did I talk to? Yeah, Ryan Kalish, a couple days ago. But, I mean, I totally get that. So I do want to ask, I mean, having a family, did you meet your wife and have your kids early on in your career? Because that's got to be tough. I know Bake, Megan is up north and they're home, and then you're obviously Bake's traveling around. So did Lori, did she stay in Florida and then you kind of or did she follow you? Did your family follow you?
She would come to the city, so let's say I'm playing for the Cardinals. So she would move to St. Louis and then just cherry pick, what all the good cities, whatever city she wanted to go to.
Well, what about your kids though? Like enrolling in or were they young?
They were still really young when I was towards the end of my career. So we could kind of move them around and, pick a daycare or something like that. They weren't in school yet, so we didn't have that issue to deal with.
Nice. All right. That's cool. So yeah, I mean, I want to, now that I went through the transition of now, this is now your second year out, right?
Yep.
And by the way, making the squad for the Astros, I mean, it was a non-roster invitee, right?
Yep.
And that's not easy. It's kind of like being a recruited walk-on, making the squad. I mean, a friend of mine did the same thing, and you tore it up that spring, went in there, and that's awesome. So how's the transition? What's it like being, because you're grinding it out all fall, you're working your ass off, and then not going to spring. Actually, no, you did go to spring, but as a instructor, right?
I did. I worked for the Nationals the following year. I took a year off to spend with the family. Then the next year I worked for the Nationals. It was great. I think the biggest thing for me is that my kids are now 4 and 5, and when I stopped, they were starting to get to that age to where when I'm gone for 2 weeks, I come home and they're completely somebody else. So I started to not like that part of it.
Yeah.
I missed them, and that was a big decision in my retirement. is that I didn't want to be away from them. So now that I'm home, and even when I worked for the Nats, it said I traveled 10 days a month. I'm basically home with them all the time now. It's not that I'm gone all the time, or even when when you're still playing, you leave the house at 1 and you don't come home till midnight. So
Yeah.
you see them, but you don't see them too. So I miss the competition. I miss the camaraderie of being with the guys. I don't miss the travel.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's got to be tough. People don't understand that for a 7 o'clock game, you're at the field at 1, right? I mean, just kind of
Yep.
getting whatever it is, getting treatment done,
Video,
yeah,
doing your homework, then you got practice, BP, yeah, everything about it, no question. And I'm not complaining. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, and then you don't get back to the hotel like you said, midnight or whatever. I mean, it's a little bit more of a grind than people understand. But like you said, you're living your dream. I mean, I was talking to a friend about it recently. It's like just about the whole attitude in the clubhouse or whatever. And like some people are, it's like, how could you ever not be happy? I'm like, because when I visited the Cubs or whatever, it's just such good dudes in that clubhouse, man. And just really, and he's like, why wouldn't they be? They're getting paid a ton of money to live a dream that they've wanted since they were a little kid. But I just think it's really cool. Like, I don't know. I mean, I miss it as well. But it's cool that something translated not only that took over, that filled that void of excitement for me. So like when I was done playing, it was kind of scary for me, and then luckily I jumped right into something that gave me that excitement. Which was a college baseball film or whatever, but we filmed that and I was able to still play baseball, but then pursue my acting career or whatever. But yeah. So what are you up to now? What do you have going on? I think you're working. Are you doing Fox Sports stuff for?
I'm doing some stuff for Fox Midwest, so I'll do some analyst stuff up there for the Cardinal games, which I really like. So I'll try to pursue some more stuff in TV, and going into next year.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book about my story. And we're almost done with that, so we'll release that next year. I think during spring or maybe in the first month. The release date we don't have yet, but we are getting close. Which has been a really fun project. And then I help my wife with her business, which is a business we started back in 2010. So it's called Our Baseball Life, which is a resource website for baseball families. Whatever they may need, doctors, moving companies, whatever they need going into a new city, and it's all a network that other players have been to, so they can trust. Hey, we've been to this doctor, we really liked them, etc.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Is that going to be open to everyone, or is it just going to be like a members only site?
It's private now for the for the players or whatever. But we're creating a public site, which will be done sometime soon. You know how that goes with tech stuff. It's never on time.
Oh man, I can relate. So what what was I going to say? So what activity do you love to fish, golf? I mean, what are some things right now? You've got to fill that competitive void.
Yeah, I try to fill it with golf. Fishing also. I do a lot of free diving. I grew up down here in Florida, so I'm a big water kid. So I'm on the water as much as I possibly can. The Bahamas is only 60 miles away from where I live here in Jupiter. So that's kind of the lifestyle here. Especially during the summer, you get a flat weekend or a flat couple days, and we jet over to the Bahamas, fish. Spearfish, everything involved in it. So that fills my days with the kids and everything else I got going on. That's about it.
I just got a visual of you just fucking firing one of those. That fish has no chance with those the spears, dude. But So what is there? I know there was talk a little bit about a movie about the story. I mean, I know you probably can't talk about it. Is that in the works?
I got offered to do a movie when I was still playing as soon as I got back, and I just felt like that would be a distraction for not only me but my teammates if I'm in uniform still and there's something at the box office. So I didn't want that. So I put that on hold till I was done. And then what I came to when you start doing research and talking to people who've done these projects and whatnot is that Hollywood does what Hollywood does, and sometimes, they Hollywoodize things. So I felt it would be best if I write a book, put everything out there in my words, and then if they do make a script and make a movie, which they do. They always change a little things from here to there.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's out there in my words, right? So I put the book out first, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I have met with producers and talked to different people, but we're taking it step by step here and just going to try to finish the book first.
Nice. And is that your writing, or are you working with someone? Are you doing it computer, or are you handwriting?
I hired a ghostwriter. So, just like we are podcasts, or we'll spend some time together.
Right.
he writes a chapter, well, then we'll change it. Hey, I don't like the way this sounds or feels, or this is what I meant, this, not that, etc. So it is a little tedious, but I have enjoyed going back because I think one thing that we all do is we all have this vision of who we were when we were 15 or 12 or 8 or whatever it was. And when you actually go back and start talking to people that lived it with you, it's kind of surprising. I think you learn a little bit about, you relearn who you were back then instead of the images you've created about it, if that makes sense.
Heck yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Man, that would be interesting. Maybe I should do it because I want to do something like that too. Just kind of recount. And it's like you said, the mornings waking up, going over to my inversion table. I'm still at the same place, but seeing the same horizon of the mountains back there takes me right back to when I was. It's just a great way to start your morning as far as like perspective and gratitude, man. And seeing how far I've come from those dark days where I was just one foot after the other trying to get through it, And I usually did, but it's cool. It's cool to just.
I got a question for you. When you were going through those dark days, was it? Did you really focus on like one day at a time and just one exercise at a time, or how was that for you?
No, thanks for asking, man. I just it was tough because I just perspective. People don't live through the accident that I was in. I was walked out by one of my nurses who was a former Marine. He's like, "Hey, man, I just want to tell you," because he could tell I was down. He's like, "Anytime you could walk out of a hospital, considering what you've been through, is a good day." He's like, just remember that. That set the tone for my recovery. I went home. I had a ton of love from my friends and my family. My sisters were here, and I would take my medicine and just fall back asleep for like the first few days. And then I was like, man, I didn't like, my job was seriously out to here. Yeah. So I didn't really want to go outside. But what I would do is at nighttime, I would go down to this little, this walkway on Chandler over here. And I would just take walks and get that circulation going from head to toe. And then I would start to just feel better. I mean, rather than just laid up in a bed, man, it's depressing because being a former athlete, just being able to walk, run, chew, smile, that was all taken away from me. I love running. I love working out. I was told it's probably not going to happen again. Everybody was talking to me about insurance and suing, and I'm like, come on, man. And we didn't do any of that. Like I'm grateful to be alive. That was it. And like, so just that gratitude, that perspective of waking up every morning and hopefully a little swelling would have gone down, and then just listening to Sade, and then upside down in that inversion table. And it's what I did every morning. It's what I do every single morning to this day.
Awesome.
Thank you, man. But it's step by step, and it's a lot of just gratitude. I would talk to my parents, talk to my family, get that love going. And look, the wires were going to get taken out. I was luckily I didn't have any knee damage or ligament damage, so I could go on those walks and eventually be able to run. I lost 17 pounds and whatever, I'll gain it back. It's just that perspective that it was actually really exciting for me, Rick, like that I was alive because, clearly here for a purpose, they were saying, but it rocked me into my purpose because I felt like I was underachieving a little bit. All my boys had good jobs. I was kind of waiting for the phone to ring, even though I worked my ass off as an actor and model or whatever and stayed in shape. But I don't like anybody else. I didn't like being managed. I didn't like anybody else calling the shots. I love being able to run my own company right now and hire people and provide jobs. And the most rewarding thing, seriously, is like, getting people who off of those toxic products and helping them with their skin, helping them with what they see in the morning when they look in the mirror. I mean, that feels good. But yeah, it was a long time. I mean, first 13 weeks I remember were really rough. It's a long time. I mean, and then you get those little victories of a comeback. Like, I don't know if it was you, like, I think you tore it up in Gulf Coast, right? Like 10 bombs, 160 bags or something.
Yeah, small victories. Yeah, small victories. You got to appreciate them.
Absolutely. And you're like, all right, that those victories lead into momentum that just like it carries over, and then you just start to get your zest back, and then you're like, all right, I'm back. And then I did something a year later on the exact day of my accident for Entertainment Weekly for like a 50 Shades of Grey type spread. And I'm like, damn, everybody told me that I would be out, like never again back in the game. But I'm like, I'm doing it. And so just that felt good, and just to get back and just doing this on the side, it's just, I really am a very appreciative individual, always have been. And I love being alive, man. And it's just, to have that taken away, it rocked me, but I've always had perspective. It's not like that accident changed me. It provided a lot of opportunity and purpose, but I was a good dude before the accident, basically. I was grounded, I had perspective and gratitude, and I express that daily. But yeah,
that's not what Baker said.
Oh yeah. Fake, man. Yeah, well, he should know. But yeah, Bacon and I, he and I were roommates at Berkeley, and we're 19, 20 years old, dude. And but it was really cool with him because down here, I mean, just to see a buddy who has worked his ass off, has a family, he married his high school sweetheart. I mean, who does that, right?
Awesome. Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. And Megan is her name, and actually, no, you'd met her. And so yeah, that's just really, he was a really very good person to look up to, and just kind of when I was down here, I'd check box scores, talk to him, and he really motivated me. Now he's a partner with me in Alitura, and it's just there's nobody else who I'd rather like win for and win with, who like showed that they believe in me and my brand and my whatever my work ethic and stuff. But like, yeah, it's fun, man. It's all about perspective. What about you in your were there tough days? Were you just like, man, I think I can do this? I mean, because I want to ask what is your biggest moment, period, and then on your recovery, what is the coolest thing? I have an idea, but I'd like you to say it.
Biggest moment of my career?
Yeah.
Well, I'll name a couple. Obviously, the first time you make it to the big league. So my first start as a pitcher.
Yeah.
When I got called back up in the home run I hit the first night. I mean, I couldn't have wrote that out any better.
No.
And then to come full circle, the home run I hit for the Braves in the playoffs. And I don't know if you know this or not, but when I went through the throwing stuff, yeah, that one. I went through the throwing stuff, it was against the Braves. And I grew up a Braves fan. So for all this to come like full circle and then hit that home run with the Braves in the playoffs, for Bobby Cox, who was my hero as a child,
oh yeah,
just amazing. So I'll put all of those kind of right there on sprinkle on the top.
There you go. Hey, so I heard in an interview you said you kind of like an out of body experience on that. How did you down away change up against Brocail, right? Kind of all wrist, right field. Sorry about it. 20 rows deep.
Butt hooked him. Yeah, sorry about it. Nothing personal, but I got you. I actually had him he was my pitching coach in Houston too, so I'd bring that story up to him all the time.
Absolutely. Does he ask the same thing? Like, come on, down and away. I don't know if that was a change.
He said, scout report said, just throw your curveballs down. I was like, well, it wasn't down enough.
That is hilarious, dude. That's hilarious. That's awesome. That's that head right there barreling up. That's that what, C353. But yeah, man. What's that? Yeah.
So there's a lot of barrel on that.
A lot of knob on that too. Did you hook the pinky over the knob or?
I didn't. No. Nope.
There you go. Yeah, man. And then, so that's I remember that home run and just I think they interviewed you after and like that. That was probably the biggest home run of my career, and that was against I'm from the Bay Area up there, so that was
okay.
That was awesome to see. Period. Whatever, Giants fan. I'm just a baseball fan. I don't really root for teams or whatever. I like watching good players play and people that motivate me play or whatever. But I mean and then a couple more things. How are you nutritionally? Like, I'm a little obsessed with nutrition, skincare, well-being, and I mean, do you have any? You kind of eat whatever, or are you paleo?
I go off and on. When I was playing, I was religious about everything because I felt like I needed to be, and that was going to give me the best chance to recover faster and everything else. Right now I'm on a cheeseburger diet, so if I see a cheeseburger, I'm going to eat it.
Oh, all day.
So I go off and on. It just depends. Right now in the summer, with the kids being home and not in school and stuff, it's just easier to eat quick and fast and not prepare stuff and be healthier.
Yeah. And was I right? You're out in Jupiter, right?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Cool. Nice. And then workouts, you kind of do you do like high intensity interval training, or do you just kind of what do you?
It's funny. I tried not working out when I retired for like the first 5 months, and then I looked in the mirror and I was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life." I couldn't handle it. So I'm one of those guys who has to stay in the gym. I'd say about 5 weeks ago though, I tore a ligament in my wrist. So I've kind of been chomping on the bit.
Yeah.
But I'll just go lift. I don't do the high intensity stuff anymore. I'll just go in there and lift. For me, I just want to feel strong. And sometimes I'll just, sometimes I'll just do pull-ups all the time,
Yeah, I mean, it's a full body workout.
Yeah, and I bike a lot. So I'll bike to the gym, lift, and then bike home.
Nice. I got to get a bike.
So.
Okay. Yeah, and that's low impact, so you're not affecting your knees. And
right.
That's solid, man. Well, man, I mean, unless you have anything else you want to add, I mean, this has been such a blast for me, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. Are you ever out in California?
Yeah, every now and again, but not too much. But when I do, I'll definitely give you a shout. I think one thing too, I will add something because we're talking about inspiring stories and
Yeah.
stuff. One thing that helped me when I was going through my stuff is just the saying that the sun is going to rise tomorrow, right? So it doesn't matter how bad today is, the sun will rise tomorrow. And I don't know why that just stuck with me day after day. I'm like, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. The sun's going to rise tomorrow. And if it don't,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and that's a great point because when I'm an early riser, and when that sun comes over that hill, there's something beautiful about that new day. That
Right.
it just it's a new day, and I know
Just
yeah, and some people are able to go. There's always tomorrow. Especially that baseball mentality. I obsess with my 0 for 4s and 2 punch outs. I'd be the guy in the outfield, crunching numbers in my head, knowing my stat. Like I was a
right.
stat rat, dude, and that crushed me. And I'm right where I'm supposed to be with skincare, dude. I was a mess, man. But yeah, I mean that's a really good point. That's a really good point. It's man, yeah. So the sun will rise, and that's just like a new. Every day is a new day, and just perspective and treating people right. Sounds like we're aligned, man, and that's very cool. So
Absolutely.
yeah, my audience is gonna love this. I know I did. Yeah, thanks again for your time. Absolutely, give me a shout if you come out here. We'll
No
grab
doubt.
coffee.
You too. If you make it down to Florida, man, holler.
No, I definitely will. Where is that near Fort Lauderdale or Miami or I don't know
Yeah,
Jupiter.
I'm about an hour north of Lauderdale, an hour and a half of Miami, hour and 40 with traffic. No traffic, you're good. Traffic, you know how that goes.
Yeah, there are a
It's like
lot of
5 out there, man. It's
there
awful.
there are a lot of spas out there, man. So I may have to go door to door with the product. We'll see what
There you
happens. But
go.
nah, I really appreciate your time, Rick, and it's been a lot of fun for me. And I will talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Andy. Have a good one,
All
man.
right, brother. You too. See you.
All right, later.